Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today to finish off and complete the rest of the legendary section here in the final node. If you recall my previous attempts, the characters I brought in for my team was Adam Warlock, Black Cat, Omega Red, Old Man Logan, and Rogue. So far, it seems like Old Man Logan has been the key contributor here, and as you guys can see on screen, I actually switched him to ISO 8 healer, as that's provided a lot of value in terms of sustain. Black Cat has been a very, very important piece as well. Meanwhile, Adam Warlock, Omega Red, and Rogue, they have provided some key moments of crowd controlling aspects, so all 5 of these characters have worked out really well for my roster. Now let's see if we can get the job done here with the final attempts. Let's get to it. Okay, so the last time we were up against the previous enemies, there were a Red Hulk that was actually proving to be very formidable. And as you can see, it was the Ghost Rider stories, right? All the different Ghost Riders that we're up against, these are the characters that we want to be focusing in on, because especially when we finish up an enemy, they can retaliate and do some of that passive damage back to us. So that's why we have to control these characters as much as we can. So you'll see that here. Another big one too is to be very, very careful in this node up against the Red Hulk, just because when he gets those 5 charges, he can use a very devastating ultimate ability. So you can see we cleaned up there, adding some more and spraying more of those debuffs, but we are targeting one Ghost Rider at a time. And when you're able to, make sure you stun Red Hulk as shown on screen here. That way, when we are doing some passive adjacent attacks there, we're not building up his charges, so that way he can erupt with his ultimate ability. But ideally, you want to be cleaning up these Ghost Riders. At 21 out of 44 enemies, you'll see that another wave of enemies does spawn in conjunction with the rest, and some of them include some pretty speedy enemies, including this Ronin. So make sure you try to control him. There's also a Mockingbird as well being part of this, but again, we want to be using our debuffs, and you can see Old Man Logan just completely doing work here. This is why he's the most pivotal piece, the most important character for Legendary. I wouldn't even attempt Legendary unless you have Old Man Logan, given how much control he has. He's almost kind of a one-man show actually in the Legendary section, so absolutely formidable, must have for this section. See, we're doing really good here, still controlling everything. Make sure you guys are just cleaning up here. We finally took care of that Red Hulk, and 18 out of 44 enemies remaining. These ones should be the final ones that you're leaving behind. Don't worry about those minions that are summoned. They're okay to be left around, because then we can actually build up energy, which we do, and we clean up right there. Finally, this is going to be the last, the second last wave here. There's more enemies coming, but you'll see there's another Red Hulk, another Ghost Rider, and another Mockingbird that's going to be summoning minions. So once again, we're going to be doing the thing that we typically would be, which is spreading the debuffs and then trying to land as much stuns as we can on those key priority targets, including the Ghost Rider as well as Red Hulk. So very similar wave after waves, which is why I cut out some footage for you guys. That way you're not just seeing me bounce attacks back and forth. At some point, these minion characters will come up, and it is what it is. You just have to truck through it and keep spreading the debuffs as much as you can. But once they're all controlled, this final wave is actually super, super easy. You're essentially just controlling, and like I said, the debuffs do the work. And then at 10 out of 44 enemies, this is going to spawn the remaining last few members here, as you can see, consisting of another Red Hulk and a couple of abominations as well. So again, the story with this node is just controlling the Red Hulks as best as you can. Hence why Logan is so pivotal. I think Omega Red also played a very, very important role, just because he has a lot of ability blocks, that turn meter. And Rogue, when she does have her abilities up and running, is helpful. But as you can see, we're only down to 3 allies on our team now, and at this point, this is where I would start trying to be conservative, because you may or may not be able to finish it up, especially when more of these characters are erupting their abilities. So you can see here, it is what it is. We had a really good attack here, but at some point the Red Hulks are going to get the best of us, and we're setting up ourselves now for a really big last finisher. So you can see, ideally you'd be taken care of in this last wave, and now we're going in once again to clean up and finish the remainder of these enemies. So the Red Hulk users are special. It is what it is. You can't do much. But again, we want to be focusing on the Red Hulks. I would recommend, once again, to use the stuns, control them. Very, very similar strategy what we've already employed in the previous waves. And again, the devastating ultimate with Old Man Logan, the number of debuffs, it's slowly but surely, right? These nodes are not difficult. It's more so just making sure that you're patient, targeting the enemies at the right time, and it makes meaningful attempts each time you go in. as opposed to just throwing your characters and spraying all damage. And really, those Ghost Riders and the Red Hulks are the story of this node. So now we're just doing work. We're just taking our time and trying to do as much damage as we can and try to focus in on these enemies as much as possible. And once again, Old Man Logan coming in massive here. His ultimate, the bleeds, just eats up so much of their HP over time, especially when they take their turn. So it's really, really important for you to focus in on that. And whenever there is a stun available, make sure you guys are targeting the Red Hulks and the Ghost Riders, right? As you can see, it's completely demoralizing them and crushing them with the debuffs, and Omega Red with the big ultimate there. And you're gonna get to a point where all these characters are just controlled and there's no chance for survival, and it's basically just a waiting game, right? We're just going through, we're just sifting through the debuffs that we're placing on the enemies, waiting for them to burn out, and boom, just like that. So overall, I do recommend this team, guys, but again, ideally in a perfect world, I would have loved to bring in some additional supporting cast members like Nova, Morgan Le Fay. I would have been a big fan of Green Goblin Classic, but I just didn't have the resources. So always do what's best for your roster, especially if you want to progress efficiently as possible, especially if you already have mythic characters ready to go. Like for myself, I already had Super Skrull and Apocalypse ready to go from the get-go. So I'm going to be in a good place to start mythic right away. But again, that's why it's important to review your roster, review your resources to see what is your true bottleneck and target, and understand how to best get those resources, whether it's through raids, whether it's purchasing through the store of gold. And that's the game plan. So there you guys have it. That is to finish up here. We are finally done the legendary section, and we'll be starting mythic pretty shortly here. May or may not have those videos out for you guys, but we will see in the meantime how much time I have. But you can see here, this attack, anyway, last time we took 2 attacks with the first node. As you can see with this one, 3 attacks. And as per usual, I like to show you guys here where I'm currently situated right now in the rankings. You just gotta zoom out here and head over to the Dark Dimension 7 overall, hit the leaderboard, and then hit find me, and then that's going to give you the exact ranking that you have as of completing that node. So right now, still top 5,000. And yeah, actually, I'm curious. I just like to show this as well, guys. Just for those of you interested, remember, I'm free to play. My total TCP at time recording is 56 million. So we're doing great. Still top 5,000. We'll see where we land by the time we finish and unlock Mephisto. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.